What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Having Said That show. I am Aman, not Aditya or Jay, and I'm here with Sid.
What's up, guys? Adi and Jay are not here. Ariana's here.
Yay!
And
Hi.
Having Said That show is a show where the five of us meet, have fun, chat, have a good time, occasionally with some cool guests.
Yeah.
And speaking of cool guests, today we have a really, really cool guest.
Yeah.
This is a guest I've been really excited for. He is the former captain of the Indian hockey team. He is a Arjuna Award winner and he's represented India across competitions and even at the Olympics. So he runs OGQ, which is Olympic Gold Quest, an organization we'll talk about in the episode, and someone who's really passionate about sports. Give it up for Viren Rasquinha. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Viren.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Of course, yeah. I'm excited for this episode. And this is the first time I've done a guest intro, you know.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've met an Olympian. Isn't that crazy?
That's actually true for me
Yeah.
also, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not, you don't casually bump into Olympians, I must say.
They're
But
so rare.
like for those who don't know, tell us a little bit about what OGQ is and what you guys do.
OGQ, as you know, stands for Olympic Gold Quest. It is a not-for-profit foundation started by two of India's sports legends, Geet Sethi and Prakash Padukone. They both need no introduction. Geet, a 9-time world Q Sports champion. Prakash Padukone, to very young folks, have to tell them that he's not just Deepika's father. And he's played a little bit of badminton in his life. Just reached world number 1 and former All England champion. And they had started this not-for-profit foundation called OGQ back in 2009. And at that time, they were looking for a CEO. And they approached me. I had just retired from the Indian hockey team. I had gone to ISB Hyderabad. I just finished my stint there. I had a conventional corporate job, campus placement, very lucrative job. I was supposed to start in Gurgaon, and I was at home in Mumbai in those interim 2 months, and I happened to meet Geet and Prakash, and they told me about this not-for-profit foundation, OGQ, with a very sharp mission to help Indian athletes win Olympic gold medals. And they wanted me to be the CEO now. For me, Geet and Prakash were gods in the sporting world. I could not say no to them. But I think OGQ also gave me the platform to help the next generation of athletes do something which I couldn't do, which is win an Olympic medal for the country. And when I played at Athens 2004, the Indian men's hockey team just missed out on the Olympic semi-final. We lost to Australia 4-3 in a match with 20 seconds left on the clock, and when it was 3-3, we hit the Australian goal post. So it was so that close, and they scored with 20 seconds left on the clock. They went by winning that match. They went into the semi-final. They went on to win the Olympic gold medal. So I know for a fact that at the highest level of sport, actually margins are so fine between winning Olympic gold or just participating.
Yeah.
And that hurt stayed with me for a long time. And when Geet and Prakash offered me to join OGQ, I just felt that it gave me the platform to ensure that the mistakes that were done during my playing career were not repeated for the next generation of athletes. And that's how on 1st June 2009, I became the very first employee of OGQ. It's been 16 long years, 4 Olympic cycles. Very proud to say that in the last 4 Olympics, London 2012, Rio 2016, Tokyo 20, Paris 24, India has won 21 Olympic medals.
Incredible, yeah.
19 from individual Olympic sports, and OGQ looks after the training only of athletes from individual Olympic sports. And the training of 13 of those 19 medal winners was looked after by OGQ.
Wow.
And we support para-athletes, athletes with physical disabilities.
Yeah.
And at the Paris Paralympics last year, India won 29 medals.
That's amazing.
The training of 25 of those 29 29 medal winners was looked after by OGQ. So it's been a great journey, and I quite frankly think I have the best job in the world. I get to work with India's best young, most talented athletes. So for example, everyone knows PV Sindhu today as one of India's greatest Olympic athletes. I know Sindhu since the time she was a little girl in school, 13 years old, pigtails, and no one knew her name. She was not in the Indian team.
Yeah.
It's been a 16-year journey. She was one of the first 8 athletes to be supported by OGQ.
Incredible.
In 2009. You all might have heard of Lakshya Sen, the badminton player who came fourth. We started supporting Lakshya when he was 10 years old. I have a picture with Lakshya when he was up to my waist. And Lakshya, it's been a 13-year journey. Lakshya is now 23 years old. He was the youngest player in the top 10 in the world. He hailed from Almora district in Uttarakhand, where there was one badminton court.
That's crazy.
And from there, he reached to that position. So it's just been a great journey. And the thing is, in sport, everyone only tends to see the finish line.
Yeah.
But actually, there's so much, literally blood, sweat and tears that goes behind the scenes. And for me, the journey is so important. No matter what the finish line is, you actually, or quite honestly, in Olympic sport, you lose more than you win.
Yeah.
And I've lost much more than I won in life. But when you actually win, that makes it so special.
Thanks about that. I think it's interesting that you said that you think you have the best job in the world, which I agree with you. But also I think you are the best person for that job. You know, being a former Indian Olympian, I read that you retired fairly young at age 28, and then you graduated from ISB. So that it seems to me there was no other perfect fit. But going back to that, I don't know if you've ever revealed this before. What was your reason for retiring so young?
I'll maybe go back to a little bit of my playing career.
Sure.
And so I grew up, I remember in 1996, I was a young teenager watching back at home, and I saw an Indian tennis player win an Olympic bronze medal at the 96 Atlanta Olympics. That was Leander Pace.
Yeah.
And for me, that was my moment of inspiration. Hockey was my sport. I come from the school St. Stanislaus High School in Bandra, which is an old Jesuit school, big playgrounds. It had a culture and tradition of hockey and football. About 4 or 5 players from my school, by the way, have played for India before me in hockey. But I was very lucky because my school coach, when I was 10 years old, himself was an Olympian. His name was Marcellus Gomes. And when I was 10 years old, he was the school hockey coach. He was also formerly from our school. He was an ex-Stanislite. So he taught me all the technical skills of hockey when I was 10 years old.
Amazing.
And it's like all of us have one great teacher in our life who made a difference to our life. For me, it was that hockey coach who made a difference to my life. But I think he taught me not just technical skills, but he taught me so many important life lessons. I think he was the first one who really taught me how to work really hard and push beyond limits, and how to accept defeat, and how to be resilient, have grit in whatever you did. Teamwork, communication. Hockey is a team sport. So I just learned so much from him, and one thing led to another, and I went on to play for the Indian team, but I always go back, if it wasn't for someone teaching me the right basics at 10, there was zero chance of me going on to play for the Indian team. And for me, it was, I think, the most beautiful time of my life was actually playing for India, because that was my dream. Like, I had 4 dreams, I would say. One is to play for India, one is to captain the Indian hockey team, one is to play at the Olympics, and the 4th one is to win an Olympic medal. I was very lucky the first 3 got fulfilled.
Yeah.
But the final one of winning an Olympic medal myself as a player, that remained unfulfilled. And like that match against Australia, we had to beat Australia to reach the Olympic semi-final. For them, a draw was enough. We were leading 1-0. That time hockey was 2 halves of 35 minutes. Now it's 4 quarters of 15. We were leading 1-0. Australia equalized 1-1. In the second half, Dhanraj Pillai was one of India's greatest hockey players. He got a yellow card and he was suspended for 10 minutes. In that 10, now it's difficult playing against Australia 11 versus 11. It's virtually impossible hanging in there with them 10 versus 11 for 10 minutes. In that 10-minute period, Australia scored 2 goals. They were leading us 3-1 in the second half. Dhanraj came back on the pitch. India made it 3-2. With 7 minutes left on the clock, we made it 3-all. With 4 minutes left on the clock, we hit the Australian goal post. We had 5 penalty corners, I think, in the last 10 minutes, but everything we hit and flicked at the Australian goal, their keeper saved. And with 52 seconds left on the clock, we had a free hit on top of the Australian D area. We entered the D, took a hit at the goal. Goalkeeper made a great save, ball rebounded. They counter-attacked us, and with 20 seconds left on the clock, Australia scored that night. I remember that match finished around 10 p.m. Athens time, and I was crying on the sidelines till 12 midnight. Because for me, it was 7-8 years of intense effort, sacrifice that went into going to the Olympics. And I remember being very angry and frustrated, not because India lost, not because one of us made a mistake. I remember being very angry and frustrated because I felt that the system did not gear us well enough to handle the pressure against the best teams in the world when it really mattered. Because athletes at that level have to deliver, you have to execute under pressure when your heart rate is at 200 beats a minute, when you have nothing left in the tank, your thighs are burning, your heart is throbbing so much it's literally exploding through your head. At that time, you have to maintain composure and you execute. In matches against Australia, you will get one chance and you'll get a split second to make it count. If you miss, you will get punished with a goal behind you. So that's why athletes train for so many years to be able to execute under pressure. And I think I would say in a way that one match till today it hurts, but I'm happy that I was able to convert the disappointment into something positive in OGQ. It's what drives me every Monday morning. I've never felt that, oh shit, I got to go to office and it's I hate this job. I love what I do. I love looking after young athletes. And by the way, today OGQ supports the training of 460 Olympic and Paralympic athletes. These are the best of the best young kids in the country.
Incredible.
That's insane.
95% of them do not come from Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore, Chennai. They come from small towns and villages. Out of the 460, only one comes from Mumbai.
Wow.
So the dichotomy in India is actually where the money and resources are in sport. There the hunger and fire and talent is not there. And actually where the hunger and fire is there the money and resources are not there.
This is so crazy that you bring this up, because there's something that I've always thought, that you see the likes of, say, Mirabai Chanu, who comes from very humble backgrounds. And she has obviously got this fame now, but she ventured into a sport which was also not a very popular sport. Like weightlifting is not as popular as many other sports in the country. So it's like two things are working against you. You're coming from humble backgrounds, and you're also trying for a sport which is not that popular, which doesn't have that kind of infrastructure or facilities and everything. So like, what is it that makes you take that risk? It's like anyway it's a difficult thing to try for a career in sports, and now you're also taking a sport which is so difficult.
It's a great question. And for all of us coming from urban backgrounds, well-educated backgrounds, well-educated parents, for you and me it's a risk. For my daughter's 11 and she plays tennis, and it's a risk for her, because we're constantly saying, should she play, should she study, should she do both, will she make it as a player? But put yourselves in the shoes of the kid coming from the small village. And that kid, for them, they don't view sport as a risk. They view sport as a way out of a very tough life. And for them, they are willing to go all in and give 100%, put everything on the line. And see, the thing is, when you play sport, the biggest trends in the last decade and a half have shown that India loses the maximum amount of talent in sport at the age of 15 to 17. Why does that happen? Because all of us have to make tough decisions in life at that age. And the rational decision is to study.
To study,
Yeah.
or to
Because
stay
study
away from
just
the
gives
sport.
you a much wider opportunity in life. The probability of success of becoming Sachin Tendulkar or Dandaj Pillai or Mirabai Chanu or Saina Nehwal is 0.001%. And those are not high probabilities by any stretch of imagination. So the much safer option is to study. But when you go to the kid coming from village, even if they study, the probability for them in making it or getting out of that is very low. So they do not see it as a risk. And take for example PV Sindhu. We were looking after Sindhu, like I said, when she was 13 years old. And I'll give you Sindhu's example of why she made it despite going through that risky phase. At 15, she won her first senior international tournament. It was Chotu sa tournament called Maldives International Challenge. But very big in terms of the confidence it gave a young badminton player that she belonged there. At 17, she started playing Super Series tournaments, which is the highest level of women's international badminton tournaments. That first year, Sindhu played about 12 tournaments. I think in 10 tournaments, she lost either in the first or second round. Not once, not twice, not thrice, 10 times. What would any of our parents tell us at that point of time? Ki beta, abhi bas karo, abhi padhai pe dhyan dena. Luckily, Sindhu's parents have both played volleyball for India.
Right.
So they understood the hardships that an athlete goes in that transition. Because you lose once, you lose twice, you lose thrice. It's not so much the athlete. Do the parents have the resilience to hang in there during those tough times? Society starts talking, ki kya time waste kar rahe, weightlifting khel ke,
In your experience, is that been a common trend wherein young athletes, supportive parents have themselves been in that, have been sports people, or they've been in that space?
Very rarely, because
rare?
this is very rare, I would say, that parents have played at a high level and kids. Also, I wouldn't say that is something that we experience.
That's again like then
often.
so much credit to the parents. That even though they don't get it, they don't get the life of a sports person, they've yet encouraged their kids to and support them to go ahead with this.
Absolutely. But like I said, most of the kids who actually make it come from a background, such a tough background.
But this is the best option.
This
Like
is
if
because
they make it, then
if they play for India, they need not even qualify for the Olympics. They all get public sector unit jobs. So say Indian Oil, Bharat Petroleum, or Army, or Services, or Navy, or Punjab Police, or Manipur Police, and they get really high posts, which are secure jobs for the rest of their life. So they become the highest earning members in their family. So for them, that is, they've made it in life by at 18, 19, 20 playing for India. So all the 460 athletes supported by OGQ, invariably when they turn 18, they're at a level where they're already playing for India. At that point of time, no guarantee whether they'll even qualify for the Olympics, but they're good enough to play for India, and they get very good PSU jobs. And that secures their life. They become the highest earning members of their families by far. So that itself is a big achievement in their life.
I would love to ask you, I've never played a sport like religiously or anything. I played football when I was like 12. But then I gave up in like 3 months. But what I wanted to ask you is like, what makes an athlete? Like, what are those qualities that you have to be an athlete at this high level?
I think first of all, talent in a particular sport. So nowadays, sports science, by the way, recommends that kids do not specialize too early. And it's always good. If a lot of parents come up to me saying that they want to get their kids to play some sport, we always recommend that kids should play multiple sports, especially at least one team sport like a football and one individual sport. It could be anything. It could be any racket sport. It could be whatever, badminton, tennis, table tennis, etc. Because playing multiple sports gives you different skill sets. And I think one of the most important things that we have also seen is just having a good coach. And when I say good coach, number one, I would say if you're playing football or if you're playing badminton or any other sport, teaching you the right basics of that sport. Because most sports are technical sports. So, and second, which we really emphasize is the fun aspect, making sport fun to play. And that's something that we are very careful, because OGQ ourselves, we handle the training of around 160 athletes in the age group of 9 to 19 years. So they're going from a very young age, they're going through their teenage years, lots of issues, boyfriend, girlfriend issues. They go through many tough times in that phase. But one thing that we always try to see is that they're enjoying your training, because especially when they come at the OGQ level, then it becomes formal training. And formal training is never fun for kids. We have to make sure that they retain their love for the sport. You should be looking forward to coming to training at 6 a.m. Every morning, right? You know, say, oh shit, I got to get up at 5:30 and go for training. And that's the element. And that's something that is, you're always balancing. Because on one side you need performance, but at the same time you're trying to take away pressure from young kids, because you will always face that pressure later on. As we grow older and whatever, the pressure to perform starts coming. And one thing we want to try our best to ensure that kids have fun while playing sports. So I would say talent and the ability to really enjoy it.
Even in like a high pressure situation.
Yeah. And second, I feel is always very important, which I think sport has taught me some lessons that the classroom will never teach me, which is just resilience and grit. Because in sport you lose so much. And that's something that I feel that is the greatest lesson, because every time I've lost, I think I've learned much more lessons than from winning. And because say we lost against Australia, you lose in the last minute, you'll always do postmortem. Kya ho gaya? Who made the mistake? Kahan pe galti hua? When you win, everyone will be having 3 beers in the thing, and no one will bother to any postmortem in the last 20 seconds. So you tend to analyze and look inward much more when you lose, and there's no other profession where you lose as much as sport.
You know, I really enjoy watching the Olympics, and it gives you such a nice experience of seeing a varied number of sports over a period of 20-25 days, however long it goes on for. The one thing I've been very curious about is the opening ceremony that happens in it. And you have all the athletes walking in that stadium and this huge fanfare, and of course you've experienced that. Like, what is that feeling knowing that from tomorrow onwards you're going to be playing against the best of the best in your sport, in this massive, in this arena with such a fanfare? Like, that feeling must be so exhilarating, nervous. What is that like?
So, a fun fact over here, I've played the Commonwealth Games, Asian Games, World Cup, Olympics, everything, but I've never attended an opening ceremony in my life, because invariably the Indian men's hockey team is playing on day one of the competition, because hockey goes over the full 2 weeks. And so you have to prepare for your match the next day. The opening ceremony is very exhausting, because you have to leave the games village 4 hours before. You have to stand for 4 or 5 hours. It's tiring.
There's no way
exhausting.
You can do it before match day.
You can do it, but physically you will not be rested, because at that time you're so intensely focused on your match. So we were never allowed to go for an opening ceremony. So like you, I've also only watched them on TV. So yeah, it's a decent feeling watching it on TV. I've gone for closing ceremonies, but I've never attended an opening ceremony in my life. But again, I've played in stadiums across the world. I've had the opportunity to play in Pakistan multiple times. And after the Athens Olympics in 2004, India and Pakistan played a bilateral series. And there was so much tension on both sides of the border, because that was the first competition in any sport where India and Pakistan were playing in a bilateral series after the Kargil War. And we first went to Pakistan to play 4 matches, I think in Lahore, Karachi, Peshawar and Quetta. The first match was in Lahore. So at the Lahore National Stadium, it's about a 50,000 capacity. I think there were 70,000 people packed into a 50,000 stadium. And as the Indian team walked out of the dugout, 70,000 people stood up and gave galis.
Oh no.
So you can imagine this thing, and it was such a fun experience because
It was a fun experience.
Yeah, because when Pakistan scored, that match ended in a 3-all draw. When each time Pakistan scored, the crowd raised the roof of the stadium. And each time India scored, which was thrice, there was pin drop silence in a 70,000 stadium. So it's so much fun to have pin drop silence in a 70,000 stadium. And so the 4 matches in Pakistan, unbelievable experience. We came to India, matches won Amritsar, Chandigarh, and as you know, in Punjab, hockey is very popular. In both the matches in Punjab, in Amritsar and Chandigarh, there were crowds sitting on all the trees, on the rooftops, lining the roads. And in Chandigarh, there were about 50,000 people in the Sector 42 stadium. And when you stand in the center of the pitch, it's like a cauldron and it's like a bowl around you. And 50,000 people sing the Jana Gana Mana. It ends with a crescendo. You will get goosebumps when 50,000 people sing it. So these are unbelievable experiences.
When you're actually in the game, do you like find yourself drowning out the audience, or do you is there a point where you don't even realize that they are there because you're so into the game, whether it's hockey or football or cricket or anything it may?
I think all elite athletes are that. The funny thing was, actually I never heard the crowd most of the time because you're so intensely focused that you don't tend to hear anything. And you'll always see coaches getting a sore throat at the end of tournaments because they always shout from the sideline, but no one hears it.
India's a country that loves sports. We love watching sports, but you don't see a lot of sports people until they get to the top, right? Like, especially at the Olympics, there are so many people who've had these incredible journeys, yourself included. And when you were telling us your story of how you started from your school to get where you were, you sort of skipped through that middle bit of like, you said things worked out. But of course, things didn't just work out. There was a lot of effort and there was a lot of resilience, a lot of, I'm sure, early mornings, late nights working on it. And now that you're overseeing OGQ, you see this with all these young athletes coming up. Can you, just for, we don't really know how much that takes. Our audience doesn't really know how much that takes. Can you tell us what that journey is like? What it was like for you, maybe specifically getting from a 10-year-old boy who loved playing hockey at school to the captain of the Indian national team?
So like I said, I was a very good player in school. I used to do very well in the inter-school tournaments, and Mumbai inter-school in hockey is fairly strong.
Of course.
From there is what is called as there used to be, at least in my time, it's no longer there. Hockey's really died down in Mumbai over the last 20 years. But there used to be a very competitive super league in India. So there were about in Mumbai, so the Mumbai Super League, where there used to be 12 teams competing, and as soon as I finished 10th standard, so I was barely 15, 16, 17, I used to play for the Tata Sports Club, which is one of the premier hockey teams, legacy teams in the country. So they took me, I was the youngest player on the team. So I would say Tata's was one of the top 3 best teams in Mumbai, and I made a name for myself in Mumbai hockey, playing well. I was still very young. Then I got picked by the Air India hockey team, which again was then one of the best hockey teams in the country. That's the time I started playing hockey tournaments all over the country. And that's where I made a name for myself when I was 18, 19. And that's when I got noticed and I got picked for the Indian junior team. And then I went on to play the Junior World Cup, which India won the Junior World Cup when I played for the first and only time I think we won it after that once. But that was the first time we won it in 2001.
I read about this.
So that's how, and the moment after the Junior World Cup, I came into the senior Indian team. And then I played, 2001 was the Junior World Cup. I played the Asian Games in 2002, Olympics in 2004, and so that was a good phase in my life where I kept one. But I think you see only the good things. But in hockey, actually, what people don't see is the injuries, and because hockey is such a brutal sport, you're training 8 hours a day, every single day. I was playing, training, traveling 11 and a half months a year. And for 15 years of my life.
Wow.
And I've got so many injuries. For example, I've got 4 fractures just on the fingers of my right hand, besides multiple other stitches on my face, ankle injury, knee injury, back injury, shoulder injury, every possible thing, you name it. Every time you get an injury, out for at least 3 months. So, and I'm talking about the late 90s, early 2000s, where there weren't good sports specialist doctors, there weren't good physios. And it was so frustrating because when you're playing well, everyone says wah, wah, wah. But when you lose or when you get injured, no one cares about you. And your fitness drops from 100 to 0. Your confidence drops from 100 to 0. You lose your place in the Indian team every time you get injured. Then you have to fight your way back from scratch. So those are the tough times. And at that time, I felt the system did not take care of us. Because I feel ki when Neeraj Chopra wins a gold medal, 10,000 people come to the airport. But we have to support Indian athletes when they're sick or when they lose or when they're injured. And that's where, as a nation, we are letting down our athletes. I feel we have to look after athletes during the tough times. In good times, you will always have many friends. But it's during the tough times where we have to show. And that's the DNA of OGQ. One is to focus on excellence. But the second thing is also to look after athletes the most when they're sick and when they lose and when they're injured.
Yeah, because I mean, being an athlete, like, just mentally is a very challenging game, right? Like, there's of course a lot of physical battles, like you said, but you're essentially attempting to win a mental battle every time you step on the pitch.
I couldn't agree more with you. I think we underestimate the mental part of picking yourself up from defeat. And see, at that level, no matter how much you prepare, once you go on the pitch, things never go to plan.
Of course.
And so the best opponents in the world will always try to put you in a zone of discomfort. They'll never make it comfortable for you. So what Australia does is, like, I remember during my full career, all Indians would only get happy when we beat Pakistan. But as a player, I got very happy when we beat Australia, just simply because it was so hard to beat them. Because Australia will make it so uncomfortable for you. Once the first whistle blows, your heart rate goes up to 200 in the first 30 seconds of the match. And because they'll play at such pace and speed and intensity that you've never seen before in your life. You cannot replicate that intensity in training. So just to be mentally strong, when you lose, you make 5 mistakes, you will get 5 goals behind you. So to come back from that sort of thing, you have to be mentally really hard.
We see this a lot, like, I love watching sport. I think maybe I can watch more sport than I currently do, but I tend to like follow all the big ones, especially when India's competing. But even when not, and like even watching recently the US Open finished, or this year we've had some incredible Grand Slam finals with these 2 young, tennis players. And that moment in the French Open when Alcaraz was like
down 3 match points.
3 match points, right? And to just bounce back was like incredible. And I can't even not just that, like looking at Indian athletes throughout, I'm a big cricket fan, watching the Indian cricket team come back from when it's almost unwinnable. Watching my favorite football team score in the 92nd minute
like
of the
Champions
League final.
Like they always do.
To win. It's like, as a fan, I like my heart rate's at 200. I get goosebumps. I'm like so emotional the next day if we lose. As a player, just to be that resilience, that mental, can you prepare for that? What can we do to prepare for that?
Of course you can prepare. I think one is, I feel that I've seen again over the last 15-20 years, coaching in India has got better, although a lot of scope for improvement. Of all the ingredients that go into the mix of building Olympic champions, the coach is the most important ingredient. And I say this not only for the coaches who coach the Indian team. It's not a Gopi Chand who coaches Sindhu when she reaches the Indian team. It's the coach when we are in school, when you were playing football and teaching you there when you're 10 years old is equally important. The grassroots coaches are equally important at every level, whether it's grassroots, intermediate, physios, trainers, nutritionists, mental trainers. And sports psychology is a thing that I feel is really lacking in India. We've got now much better coaches. We've got very good Indian physios, strength and conditioning experts, nutritionists. But I would still say I would count the number of excellent Indian sports psychologists on the fingers of one hand in the country who I would trust to bring close to our athletes. Because again, sports psychology is an area where if you get the wrong person talking to athletes, they'll actually screw their minds more than help them. So you got to be very careful. It's a very tricky space, and each one is different. It's not one size fits all. See, physiotherapy or strength and conditioning, these are very measurable sciences.
Yeah.
While psychology is not an exact science, and what works for you might not work for Ariana or Sid. So we all our minds work in different ways. Our ability to handle pressure, to be calm and composed. But yes, they can be trained, and for a lot of our athletes, we set a lot of protocols on what you do 1 month before tournament, 1 day before the match, the night before the match. I must tell you all that one of the greatest challenges we face with all young athletes especially is that 3 months before the Olympics, most are unable to sleep because the pressure is so much, you are unable to have a good night's sleep because your mind is always racing, you're always under pressure, especially for the potential Olympic medal winners. India has such few potential medal winners, and the pressure and burden of expectation on them is so high. So sleeping is the toughest part,
which is something so essential to their training.
Performance. If you don't sleep well, you can't you can't train hard the next day. If you don't sleep for 7 nights in a row, if there's something that's troubling you, that's always tough, right? If we don't sleep the full night, it's hard to go to work. So imagine for athletes who have to wake at 6:30 in the morning. And
well, I think we've had a few like sports writers on the show before, and we've had discussions around sport, and there's always been this conversation of, India has so many people and we're the most popular country in the world. How come we don't have as many elite athletes in a ratio? And of course, there are many reasons. And as someone who is in the process of hopefully changing that, do you think that's the most important thing? The sports psychology is what is...
When many people ask me exactly कि 1 billion का population, 1 भी gold medal नहीं आता. First of all, there are 100 factors that go into building Olympic champions. So I can't pinpoint one factor and say कि this is not there, so that's why we're not winning. And similarly, we can't say कि because the psychologist was very good, that's why we won. There are 100 other things that go into building, but everything is important. You have to bring everything together to get that. But also, this argument of India having 1 billion population, so we should churn out, is not wrong, because most 99.5% of population don't have access to good facilities, don't have access to good coaches, don't have access, girls especially coming from villages, don't have access to the right nutrition. And if at 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, they've not had the right nutrition, and then they become boxers and wrestlers, where it's a power sport, if you've not had the right nutrition growing up, then your base nutrition is really, and your base strength is really poor. No matter what we do, if we pick them up only at 15, it's sometimes just too late to correct that. So there are many challenges, and many say कि देखो China क्या कर रहे हैं, how many gold medals that they're winning. I don't think China is the best comparison for India, because in China, if my son or daughter or anyone's kid who's 5, 6, 7 years old is showing immense talent or potential for, say, table tennis or badminton or swimming or gymnastics, the system will take them. And 24/7 you have to only do that. No studying, no anything else. In a democracy, we have the choice that we want to send our kids to play sport or study or do music or do whatever we want in life. I think better comparisons are countries like, say, I'll give the example of Hungary. Okay, India won 6 medals at Paris last year. Hungary won 19 medals.
Wow.
Google the population of Hungary. 10 million people.
Yeah.
That's like Dadar railway station at 9 a.m. on Monday morning. And Hungary wins 19 medals, and Hungary wins it by intense focus on 5 or 6 sports. Uzbekistan won 13 medals at Paris.
Incredible.
All 13 came from 5 combat sports.
Right.
So what does this teach you? To win Olympic medals, you have to focus, and you have to play to your strengths. That's what we're trying to do at OGQ. 5 of the sports that we are having as priority sports are badminton, boxing, shooting, archery, and wrestling. So all individual sports, which are India's strong points. If you look at our competition vis-a-vis rest of the world at all age groups, if you look at our pool of talent, if you look at pipeline of talent for the future, so you have to play to your strengths, you have to be intensely focused, and then the probability of winning the medal, there's never a guarantee.
Of course.
The probability of winning a medal is higher. And once you win, it gives you more funding to go to the next sport and to the next sport and to the next sport.
You know, I was thinking about this, like, you mentioned earlier that how when Neeraj Chopra wins a medal, like the 10,000 people who come up to him. I also noticed this, and correct me if you think I'm wrong, that certain sports only get recognition when someone has achieved something remarkable in it. Like Neeraj Chopra achieved this, and then suddenly everyone's talking about javelin.
Yeah.
Or the same with Mary Kom and boxing, maybe, or Mirabai Chanu and weightlifting.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's a sad state of affair that you have to really beat all the odds, and only when you win something is when the sports will get recognition. And in a country like ours, where cricket is the most common sport, even cricket had that same journey to do. I think only like post 83, when we actually won the first World Cup, is when cricket also got that level of fame. So it's just, I mean, I guess it's a sad state of affairs of how it is with sports here.
Yeah, and I don't want to come across as complaining, but that's the reality. And unfortunately, in India, in sport other than cricket, things work only on the top-down approach. So if there's a hero and role model like Neeraj Chopra, then 10 million people start watching javelin throw. By the way, it actually really works, because I would say one is the inspirational value, one is the role model value, and the other thing is the fact that someone has gone there and done it. So that shows that there's a pathway. One of the reasons why I think is Sunil Gavaskar, Geet Sethi, Prakash Padukone, and Vishwanathan Anand are 4 of the greatest, or Kapil Dev, are some of the greatest athletes in Indian sport, because they achieved and became the best in the world in the 80s and early 90s, where there was actually no support. And there was no precedent of India being number 1 in anything in sport. And they went and achieved it and showed the way. Same with Neeraj Chopra. I'll give you a stat. After Neeraj Chopra won his Olympic gold medal at Tokyo, after that, if you look from there to now, today India has 10 throwers in the world, that have crossed 80 plus meters. There's only one country, other country was that is Finland, which is one of the top throwing nations in the world. So previously at that time there were 2, now it's 10. So you can imagine the belief it gives every kid down there, ki if Neeraj did it, coming from humble backgrounds, no infrastructure, no coach, no real great coaches when he was young, it just gives so much belief. And belief is intangible. It's hard to measure self-belief. And a dream to a young kid in some place, a 10-year-old kid who, like me, one day was watching on TV and had a dream to place, and that's something that's very important.
Who's
No, I was just going to say that I think that's so amazing, and it's so true that only when you see something, you can believe it and you can want to do it, right? If you don't know, then you don't know. But I was thinking that movies have such a similar effect also, and one of the best Indian sports movies of all time and like sports movies of all time, in my opinion, is Chuck the India,
Chuck the India, yeah.
which is like based on hockey and women's hockey.
Yeah.
And I want to know if that had an impact on the sport. I mean, like, I feel like that was my first like interaction with hockey. I feel like a lot of people first came to like, okay, yeah, this is what hockey is as a sport, and like that's so cool. I want to know if that impacted the sport at all in terms of like people starting to take interest in it and playing it, and even like fans in stadiums coming more because this was there.
So first of all, I rarely watch movies. I'm not a movie buff at all, and mainly because I don't get time, and I'm not so fond of watching movies. However, Chuck Day is one of the few movies that I have watched.
You have to have watched
You have to have
it.
watched that.
It's like,
It also released when you were playing for the national team, right?
So I've watched I watched
2005.
Chuck Day, but I've not watched, for example, I've not watched Mary Com because I've worked with Mary Com. I don't watch a movie that is saying and Dangal and all that because I've worked with all the wrestlers. So I don't watch a movie when I've actually been there for many years.
You must watch them.
But Chuck Day, I really liked it. I remember telling my wife as well that this is the first movie that I felt was very actually realistic and authentic.
Yeah.
And they covered a lot of the challenges that actually happen. For example, regionalism or bias in selection, or
Even like gender.
absolutely. I think gender in sport is a big problem.
Yeah.
And I think that I'm of the firm belief that today, by the way, in the Olympics, there are 50% medals for men, 50% medals for women. And I'm of the firm belief that if young girls are given a level playing field and the same support as male athletes, girls will far outshine boys. Because if you look at ability to handle pressure, resilience, great girls are far better than boys. Think of some of the best female athletes in the country. Most of them, I would say, are female.
Yeah.
Mary Com, Mirabai Chanu, Lovelina Borgohain, Saina, Sindhu, Vinesh Fogart, Manu Bakar, you
Sania
name
Mirza.
it, Sania Mirza. There's so many female athletes that have achieved. So it's about giving them the level playing field. And Chuck Day was great because it brought a lot of visibility to hockey. Did it improve performance on the pitch? I don't think so, because that's a total different ball game. But in terms of visibility, awareness, what it did for women's sport, women hockey, I think it was very good. But for me, it was just a great movie because it was authentic. Mostly, I don't like movies because I find too much masala and
It's too dramatized.
it's true, but this was so authentic in the way that it was made. So that's something that I liked.
The one thing that has changed also is every Indian sports game will have that song play before it.
Yeah.
Chuck the India. And no matter which sport you're in, that song will
after they
always
win.
play.
It is one of the best sports movies I think I've also seen. And I do want to say on your point about women's sports, like I was saying off camera, I've been working with this women's sports YouTube channel, and shout out Ready Set Girl on YouTube. I don't think I've said this on the pod before, but had the pleasure of meeting some incredible women athletes, and there was like a conference that someone organized where I got to hear a lot of panels and talks about the future of women's sport, and sort of similar to what you're saying, right? I think for a long time we approached sports as this similar blanket over the men's and women's game, when in reality the nutrition is different, sometimes the training plan is different, sometimes even accounting for women going through puberty differently than men is so important in terms of their recovery and their training and stuff. And I think it's again something I've sort of learned to grow passionate about as I learn more information about it. And to hear you say, that 50% of our medals are won by women, to hear you say that like the future really is, if the resources were there, the support system was there, there is like a great chance of India as a nation as a whole just being rising to another level, because so many people who would never have imagined that they could be sportsmen and sports people are now being given that confidence and being given that courage. And I think, to Ariana's point, movies, I again, maybe it's intangible to see, but do sort of inspire that. A story like Dangal or a story like Mary Kom.
Undoubtedly.
Yeah.
I think, and the inspirational value can never be discounted.
Of course.
Discounted. So I think that's super important. By the way, we support, I said earlier, 160 young athletes in the age group of 9 to 19. These are athletes who we are preparing for the 2032 and 2036 Olympics.
Okay.
Just think about it. If they're going to 2036, that means today they are 10, 11, 12, 13 years old. You have to identify them before.
So
we have this lovely recent initiative. It's just turned a year old. It's called Weightlifting Warriors, where we are supporting 39 kids, 35 girls and 4 boys in the age group of 9 to 13. They're all weightlifters. The academy is called Weightlifting Warriors. It's in Ghaziabad. Mirabai Chanu herself is mentoring the kids over there.
Crazy.
Her coach is the head coach of the academy. Our mission is to build the next Mirabai Chanu in 8 years. So 35 girls in the age group of 9 to 13. They have been scouted from remote villages in Manipur, Assam, Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu. Those villages and districts are weightlifting heartlands. And so these girls from 9 to 13, it's so important because they are experiencing their menstrual periods for the first time. We have to educate them about all of that. We have to educate them about the right nutrition and their bodies are growing and developing. So there's so many little things we are learning so much, but it's just been, I would say, such a good learning experience. And if we give them the right support at the right time, I think the probability to build the next Mirabai Chanu multiplies rapidly. And imagine for these young kids to have a legend like Mirabai Chanu, the only 3-time Olympian in weightlifting, Olympic silver medalist, to be there day in, day out, teaching them. Who better than that to inspire these young girls?
And say.
No, it's also
Sorry, I feel like we all have so many questions.
Yeah.
You mentioned this like weightlifting heartland. I find it so amazing how regions in the country become like associated with one sport. You have one like the Haryana belt is known for
Boxing, wrestling.
boxing, wrestling, and then I believe like weightlifting is in the middle. Northeast. Yeah, these regions have a lot of wrestlers coming up. It's purely just like you have one. Is it because you have like this one big success story and that kind of leads to this? Or is it something beyond that also?
Very, very good question. I think for any region to build a particular sport, there are there are many things, but I would say the 2 most important things are coaches and culture. If there's a culture in Haryana, there's a culture of boxing and wrestling which is going down.
Which goes back
hundreds
way
of
beyond before the
years.
Olympics or anything else.
So our boxers and wrestlers supported by OGQ. So our 460 athletes actually train in 23 cities across 17 states. The boxers and wrestlers train in Jind, in Hisar, in Guhana, in Sonipat, in Rohtak, in Bhiwani. These are tough places to be at. And so say wrestling is the one sport where males and females do not train together. In all the other sports that we look after, males and females train together. If you look at shooting, if you look at archery, if you look at boxing, if you look at badminton, etc., they all train together. In wrestling, they do not train together. They train separately. So if there are female akhadas in Jind or Hisar, we have to send female support staff. Now these are tough players because the support staff, these are very talented physios, strength and conditioning experts. They come from Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore. To be there in Jind and Hisar 365 days a year and to be motivated is not easy. I get scared to go to some of these places after 5:30 in the evening when the sun sets because for miles and miles there are only fields around. And I am responsible for all those female staff that are going to places all over. And that's tough. Not only to send them for safety, but for them to be motivated at a place where there's not even connectivity properly sometimes. So the people working behind the scenes, for me, the team is everything. But you cannot take the wrestler out of Haryana. You build the best wrestling center here in the Bangalore, heart of Mumbai or Bangalore. They will not come because they feel कि Mumbai के पानी में दम नहीं है. So all the best infra and coaches and sports science will not impress them.
Yeah. No, big up to even the support staff. I mean, we obviously a lot of credit to the athletes, no doubt. But even as you said, support
People
staff for
working
people
behind the
to
scenes.
leave, say, a more comfortable life in Bombay and to go and live in these places in Hisar and these places for like throughout the year. You need a lot of grit for that also. So kudos to
No,
them.
it takes and that's why we have to find people who are fiercely motivated to do something for the country and be there, because it's a tough life. It's not a walk in the park.
So one thing that we believe, and we've done in some of the past sports episodes, is like we had Vidit on, and he spoke about how Gukesh was going to be world champion at some point, and that actually happened a couple of years. So we think like, man, let's manifest something over here. So maybe, it'll come up 2 years later. So just I want to ask you, like, who are the young, like some talents that you're extremely excited about in India, like be it across the Olympic sports, but some names that you want to throw out or something you want to manifest for them?
Who are the ones to watch?
Who are the ones to watch out for?
I hope they don't watch this so that there's no added pressure on them. I would say one is Lakshya Sen, although he's not young nor first, but he still hasn't won the medal.
Yeah.
And the talent he has, it would be so sad if he didn't win the medal, especially he came so close. I know how heartbreaking it was for him, for his family, for all the team working for him for the last 12 years to go out there and miss it so close. So Lakshya for sure. There's a young girl, Suruchi Fogart, in pistol shooting, who is incredible at the moment, again from Haryana. We have a little girl, Tanvi Patri, in badminton. She's now 13. OGQ has been she hails from Odisha. She been training at the Prakash Padukone Badminton Academy since age of 11. OGQ has been supporting us. Since Sindhu was 13 years old, is the first time I'm seeing a young girl that talented, who's today beating girls at the national level who are 16, 17. See, normally in a physical sport that rarely happens, because at that age, every 6 months makes a big difference to your physical development. So Tanvi is amazing, but it's such a long journey. You don't know what will happen. And so these are 3 of the athletes who I have a lot of hope for the future. These are 3 names.
Amazing.
I'm gonna, before we get into our last segment, there's a quote I really love, and it, I think, stands true to a lot of the conversations we've had today. I don't know who said it. I think it was like a former cricket coach of India who said, in India, if you win the World Cup, if you win the World Cup, they'll name a street after you, and if you lose, they'll chase you down that same street, right? And so, I messed that up. I'll figure out the real quote. I'm paraphrasing, but I'm fairly certain it's, if you win the World Cup, they'll name a street after you, and if you lose, they'll chase you down the same street. And so, as sports fans, as cricket fans, with the audience we have, what can we do in our small ways to support Indian sports at a grassroots level, so that we're not in the position where we have to wait for a gold medal and then we go to the airport, right? What is it? Just watching more sports? Is it support? What can we do?
I think just watching more sports and so many things just boil down in India to eyeballs. And if we watch more sport, all Olympic sports, then actually broadcasters will show it on TV, because then they'll get advertisements. Advertisers only come when there are more eyeballs. If we only follow during the Olympics, and no one, they say in India everyone asks about hockey and weightlifting and boxing only during the
once
Olympics.
in 4 years,
So once in 4 years, and then we forget.
So
I think if we are able to just, in our own small little way, I think what's really lacking in India is community sport. And all of us playing sport, watching sport, encouraging our friends to watch sport. I think that's something that has to be done, because that indirectly adds more eyeballs to sport, which indirectly then gets more money into the sport to be telecast live much more. It's about opportunity, right? If all broadcasters, all the sports channels are only showing cricket and some random T20 T20 league of Tamil Nadu or Karnataka or Telangana or something, if we don't give them the opportunity to watch sport, how who's making the choice for us? So so if we had the opportunity, I'm sure we would do more. So that's something in our own little way. If we can just even watch more sport, I think it makes a big difference.
I know. I while I was at this conference, someone from the broadcasters were talking about how when they were making the deal for the WPL, they had a few things in play where it was happening during India's Champions Trophy run or something of the sort. Like India was playing a big tournament. The men's team, was playing a big national tournament while the WPL was going on, and so they did it in a way where they would not schedule any WPL matches when the Indian men's team was watching, but then they would play WPL matches on that same channel on the off days. So people would instinctively go to that channel to check for cricket every night, and you would get cricket whatever it was, and that helped them raise eyeballs on WPL and then get more advertisements, to support the league. And so now with streaming and stuff, I think if you ask for it and you try it, at some level, I think costs people less to broadcast because you're not fighting for airtime because there's so many options. And so now when I'm on Fan Code, that day me and my friends were watching the Pro Panja League, which I thought I would never be able to watch, and it was the most incredible experience of my life.
Panja, you mean?
It was the most
league.
incredible experience of my life to watch them play Panja live. It was like they're taunting each other, and they have like walkouts, and they're referees, and they're packed crowds, and they're all yelling. And there was this guy named Sachin Biceps King who like literally blew a kiss to his opponent and then finished him. It was like, and I would never be able to watch that on TV, and now I can, right? So I think having that, hopefully, if we ask for it, we'll receive it, and we'll be able to support our athletes and really.
Yeah, I also think that the governance of sport in our country has to be improved by leaps and bounds. And I think we can take a lot of positive lessons from cricket as well, in terms of governance, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of grassroots, in terms of coaches development. There are so many positive lessons to learn. And if we have to be able to build the stature of sport, we can't just expect that overnight there will be a Neeraj Chopra or Mirabai Chanu that will become up. A lot of work, and I think a lot of good people need to come in sport, and a lot of talented people, right? Today, the most talented people, say coming out of the IITs, IIMs, go to conventional corporate world, whether it's banking, finance, marketing, etc. But they don't come into sport. And I think sport needs to come to a stage where we are able to attract the best talent, where if there are people who are passionate about sport and want to work in sport and make a difference, there are enough and more job opportunities for them that pay well to be in sport. So that's something that we need to work on, I would say. And it all starts with good governance in sport. That's something that's really important.
I think we'll move on to our last segment.
But before we move on to it, there's something unprecedented, which is that we've had a guest but we've not asked them the controversial opinion.
I know, I thought about that.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? It's okay, but we can ask him.
We can ask him. Do you have a controversial opinion for us?
It's actually something very similar to what we were just talking about. That for me, it's incredibly frustrating that 95% of money goes towards cricket and 5% of money is going to all other sports. So it's unfair to say कि 1 billion का population एक medal लेके आ रहे हैं Olympics में, when there is actually no funding and support. And it, for me, the people who work in marketing, in my opinion, they don't understand what is the easiest thing is to follow the bandwagon and to go where everyone is putting. But I would say at a much smaller investment, the potential to build sport in the future. And I'm seeing with the younger generation, I see with parents today, parents from urban areas want their kids to play sport. They want them. We all understand that today opportunities are so much. I remember for me growing up in the 80s, 90s, for my elder brothers, the only option for them was medicine or engineering, and both my elder brothers are engineers. The only reason I could play hockey was because by the time I came along, I was the third brother. My parents were not bothered, and so I could play. But today there are so many opportunities, right, for all of us to work in different areas. And I just think that people in marketing should understand about investing in the right areas, where today you can invest in at a much lesser amount, but the potential to build the next
Potential
cricket
payoff is
immense. Why would I advertise on IPL when one ad costs an incredible amount of money, when at that rate could literally sponsor another sport in its entirety? So I just think that we need to not always follow to achieve something in life. You can't be following the crowd.
Nice.
Always.
Okay, well, that is a good controversial opinion.
Yeah.
Interesting. We usually do this at the start of the episode, so I think we have more time to talk about it, but I think that is very interesting. And I will take us into our last segment, which is a game, because here at the Having Said That show, we love to do little fun segments at the end. This is a game we actually played. The only other time we played it is with an athlete, a friend of ours who's a cricketer, and on that show it was also the three of us.
Yeah.
Funnily
the
enough.
sports episode, like masters.
And so here's how the game's gonna work. I'm going to tell you guys, I'm going to give you guys clues about a certain athlete, and the first clue I'll give you will be kind of vague. The next clue will be a little bit more, 5 clues. You have the ability to guess at any time.
Okay.
But once you guess, the other team, which in this case will be you versus the two of them, the other team has the opportunity to hear.
Okay, so they don't know as well.
They don't know as well.
Okay.
So it's you versus
and these
them.
are elite athletes.
Yes, elite athletes. So they well-known athletes.
Popular, well-known athletes. Okay.
And the idea is that, so let's say I give you the second clue, you guess and you're incorrect. They get to hear the next clue and they have a guess to make.
Understood.
Okay.
Understood.
Before, and then you can't guess at that
Understood.
level. And if you guess at the first clue, you get 5 points. If you guess at the last clue, you get 1 point.
Done.
Okay.
Yeah, easy,
Let's
simple.
go.
Let's
Sounds
get
good.
into it.
Let's go.
This is fun. We did pretty well last time.
Okay,
Yeah.
clue number 1.
Yeah.
I was born.
Who goes first? Who has the first hit? At the
You can
Anyone.
You can buzz in at any time unless you get it wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ariana, don't look at my phone.
I can't read so far.
She's a cheater.
I tried, yeah.
I was born in 1982 into a business family.
Okay.
Little vague, it's very vague. I mean,
Yeah.
if you get it here, you get 5 points.
No.
So if you make wrong answers, not that you end. No, you can still.
you
But
just-
if you get it wrong, then they get
get
to
the
hear-
next clue.
They get the
They
next
get the
clue
Okay,
and to
okay.
guess. So it's better to, if you have no guess, it's better to hold on. If you have a few names in your head.
Okay.
I have represented India in 5 consecutive Olympic Games.
Ooh.
5 consecutive Olympic games.
Abhinav Bindra.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I was going to say that.
It is enough.
That's what we always say.
So that's 4 points to you. I'll run you through the next clues. During my youth, I trained in Germany. After my retirement, I established a foundation for a high performance center to support India's next generation of athletes. And in 2008, I became India's first individual gold medalist. So that's 4 points to you. Number 2, I was born in 1986 in Mumbai, but I was raised in Hyderabad.
Sania Mirza.
Yeah.
Hey, that's not fair, yeah.
That's at least got the second clue. No, Hyderabad was
Was a giveaway.
Yeah.
Well, that's 9 points to you now. But I will tell you all the next clues.
Should I have some chai now?
Yeah.
More chai for me.
The other clues was I've represented India at 4 Olympic Games across nearly 2 decades. I was a trailblazer in Indian women in sport. I was previously married to another athlete, and I became the first Indian woman to win a Grand Slam title, which was in 2009 as part of mixed doubles. Okay. I was born in Chennai in 2006.
I want to take a guess just because
Go for it.
Vishwanath Anand.
No, 2006 you were
2006,
born.
yeah.
Shit, 2006. Oh shit. Oh,
This
my
guy,
bad.
bro.
He on Chennai went to there.
Oh, my bad.
In my late teens, I was competing in World Championship cycles and Olympiads for India.
Is it?
Pragyananda?
No. Okay.
Oh.
So now it's all even. Everyone can guess again, okay? I'm known for my attacking play despite my young age.
Is it Gukesh?
Gukesh.
It's Gukesh.
Yeah.
Yes.
What was the first clue?
That he was born in Chennai.
I thought
2006.
Gukesh was born in
Let me recheck.
Stop. That's crazy, Aman.
But he could be, huh? He
Yeah,
could
yeah.
be born because both states lay claim to him. Talk about regionalism.
Born in Chennai. Born in
Chennai. Because recently I read one article where both states were falling over themselves to give him the state award.
He's incredible. It's so fun to watch his videos online. And you know that video of Magnus like getting frustrated and Gukesh is just chilling on the side with his hands in his pocket. Well, okay, it's a game on. It's 9-3.
Okay.
Leading into athlete number 4. I was born in, I'm not going to give you the date. I think it's making it too easy. So I'm going to say I was born in Indore but raised in Bangalore.
Okay.
I represented India internationally for 16 years. After my retirement, I coached the Indian national team.
It's that, you know who it is. It's a cricketer.
Rahul Dravid.
Rahul Dravid. You should have
I
done
knew it was a cricketer. I should be the winner of this game.
It's much pressure.
Just check his heart rate also.
Number 4. Clue number 4 was easy. That I was nicknamed the Wall.
Okay.
And number 5, I'm one of the greatest Test batsmen in cricket history. But 12-3 going into the final round.
1,000 points. Last 1,000 points.
1,000 points,
okay?
yeah.
I was born in Mumbai and I captained my sport. I captained the team in my sport.
Sachin.
No.
Now you can't answer.
Can I take a...
No, let him say the second clue.
No, second clue. Yeah, we have a free guess, right?
Yeah.
Second clue, yeah.
I represented India at the Olympic Games.
Born in Mumbai, captained my team, and represented India. Okay, so you can't guess now, so wait. Let's take our time with this. Born in India, represented my team in the Olympics.
Yeah.
And most of...
That was it.
I already know it now.
Born in Mumbai.
Who? What team sport is there? I don't even know.
There's
Just make a guess, bro. I'm giving you 5-second timer. Then you get
okay. I know who this is.
My next few clues.
That's crazy.
I retired at 28. Post-retirement, I'm a key voice in Indian sports administration, and I'm now the.
It's funny how you got this one wrong.
That's crazy to be a clue in the game you're playing is iconic.
I thought that would be a fun ending, but despite you getting 4 points in the last
No, that was
round,
1,000 points.
Yeah, it's 1,000 points. We won.
Yeah, we killed it again.
We
cheating
killed
at
it.
sports yet again. Huh?
This you all should rename the show now. Make your own rules.
That always happens.
No, but thank you so much for being on. I think this was a really informative, interesting episode for us. We've wanted to, talk about Indian sports for a while. We've had a lot of discussions around it, and so to have someone on who has experience and who's dealing with it on a day-to-day basis is really incredible. And so for the last thing, we'd love to have you add something to the shelf. Ariana, Sid and I actually accidentally already saw what the shelf
I think
item
even
was.
I saw it.
Well, you've seen it too then.
Yeah.
But this will be a
But
surprise for the
I
audience.
think it's quite cool if it's what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Unless you just carry it around.
This is
That's
just
crazy.
a small mini hockey stick. I put my autograph.
Amazing.
I love
That's
that.
awesome.
Yeah, so you all can practice your hits and drags in your spare time with this. So yeah.
Amazing.
That's
Thank you
so
so
cool.
much.
Thank you so much. That's gonna look. I love the color. It's gonna look great on the shelf.
Yeah.
The actual hockey stick is slightly longer.
No, this looks pretty
They spelled
big.
Maharaja with a DJ. Maharaja.
Nice.
I love it.
Damn cool.
Oh, yeah, rad.
Maharad.
Incredible. So this is gonna go on the shelf, and I think put it somewhere where it's more visible.
We'll make it lean against.
Well,
We'll do it. We'll do it
in a bit.
later.
We'll do it in a bit.
Thank you so much for being on the show. I have like a billion other questions for you. Let us know what you guys thought down in the comments, and if you have any questions. And support Indian sports, support women's sports. We're excited to see the next batch of Indian athletes, and yeah.
Before we sign off, anything else you want to end this episode with?
No, it's been a wonderful speaking to all of you all. For me, I love all sport, and just thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak about sports and athletes that otherwise don't get the platform. And I hope just people out there support Indian athletes, not just when they win, but even during the tough times. And I'm pretty sure that the athletes give everything. And for me, the greatest moment of pride is actually when they stand on the center step of the podium and the Jana Gana Mana plays. That feeling is unmatched.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Amazing. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. And we'll see you next week on the Having Said That show.
I was wild in the winter looking for ya. Why do I get the sense I know ya? Why it might be the paranoia? Hiding but now you got me.